Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Roll call.
Trustee Taffarelli.
Here.
Trustee Thomas. Here. Trustee Grasso is excused. Trustee Wright. Here. Mayor Fair.
Here.
Resolution to accept the minutes of the following meeting. And the real meeting from April 4th, 2022.
Put it on.
Number 2, resolution for tax certs.
Michael.
The two small ones, I handed everybody out the analysis. Gregoris Motors on 164 Lincoln, which is their service center back there. And MMJ Properties on Merrick Road, which is the auto body shop.
Questions for Michael? Put it on.
I do, before we move on, we kind of have a 2B. I usually Barbara Cassidy puts on budget amendments and transfers. She did not put it on. We're going to add a 2A for a budget amendment. The library received a $10,000 grant from Calista Lodge's office, and we are utilizing that to upgrade our copy center into a small business type copy center. And so we'll do a resolution to accept the $10,000 and amend the budget.
Thank you. Any other questions for Michael? Okay. Okay.
Resolution, number 3, resolution to award Maybury Civic on 412. For the pool facility on hydro chloride solution, which is for
Okay, put it on.
number 4, proposal by P&J Refreshments on the concession stand at the pool complex.
Any questions, men? Put it on.
Okay, number 5, resolution from the engineering in the amount of $265,000 for professional service fees for field survey and cat quality design.
Road improvement program. Any questions on that? Michael, that's pretty much in line with what we've always been paying for the engineering.
Yeah.
Okay, put it on. 6.
Resolutions for approval of annual service contracts for fiscal year 2022 to 2023.
We have those?
We have them still coming in. We're still getting them. I think should have everything to see what these are the annuals. And we'll have them all for the 16th.
Okay. Next.
Number 7, through legislator William Gaylor, $100,000 we made available to the village from Nassau County for the environmental
Mediation.
Gosh.
Sorry, I can't say mediation. Sorry, don't feel bad.
Hey, this is a fixed mill pond. Let's just go with that and call it a day.
Excellent. Who's administrating that?
All right,
Tommy, what do we need to know?
At this point, we will sign, you'll execute this contract, we'll go back to the legislator's office, go down to the floor, up to the county executive, hopefully get signed, send it back, then we can, by that time, we'll have the engineering's report back, and we can go out for the contract on a contract that to do the work. So hopefully sometime in the fall.
Very good. Number 8.
Okay, number 8 is also within 7, which is the second resolution is needed to accept this contract from Solitude Lake Management in the amount of $5,628 for mapping services related to this project.
Just so you're aware, we cannot spend any money until we get the executed contract back from the county. We understand that the village, it's gonna cost more than $100,000 to have this work done. So Michael okayed us to get into this contract for the $5,600 because no, I'm never gonna spend some money on it.
The first $5,600 will come out of engineering operating budget, not out of the $100,000 because you can't extend before the 100.
Got it. All right. Number 9.
Resolution to the Board of Trustees to approve payment from KZ Engineering for the following project funded by Community Development Grant.
Questions? I'm good. Put it on. Number 10.
I'm sorry, with that contract was a rendering?
Which one?
The
KZ
KZ
one or
one.
back to the,
No, the KZ,
Solitude Lake?
Sunrise Highway. Pavement, lighting, and signage improvement. So if you could just take a look and make sure you're okay with the sign. It's mirrors what's on Corona and Rockaway. We're gonna put it on Sunrise Highway. Should be in the.
If anybody has any questions, they'll reach out to Tom. Number 10.
All right, we have an email from Solano Brokerage regarding renewal of the village's cyber insurance. The insurance now is, the insurance part is requiring a couple of things from us, a multi-factor authentication, and also a endpoint detection and response. Anthony, if you could just explain to me.
Yeah, the MFA, the multi-factor authentication, is basically like when you log into your bank and it sends you a code to your email or your phone. They basically want that for us now when we're logging into our computers, which is kind of the way things are going. It's a standard, but it's also going to be a pain in the neck because anytime someone logs onto their PC, they're going to have a code sent to another device so that they can get onto the computers.
Every time?
I don't know. I was kind of wondering that too. I don't know if there's a way that you can do it in the morning and then you won't have to for the rest of the day, like a 24-hour kind of a thing. But probably when you log out, yeah, you'll have to use it again when you log back in. The other thing, our Symantec endpoint protection might cover that, but the remediation part, Symantec doesn't do that. Like that is also like an outside vendor we'd have to get. So for both of those things, I'll have to shop around for services, for products for those.
It's still a work in progress.
Yeah.
But it's going to be something that we're going to have to get if we're going to obtain this insurance.
Yeah. And now, what is the deadline on that? Do you know like when that comes up for renewal?
I do not know.
Okay.
Usually, most of our policies correspond with our fiscal year.
Okay. I mean, tomorrow I can start doing some research on those products.
So there's not gonna be a resolution on that yet. That's kind of, number 10 is for the board's consideration.
Right. Well, can I just suggest this though? Since we're talking about it at the work session, if Anthony can get price quotes or, actual, contracts from people that's gonna handle it, companies that can handle this, that we should put it on for the main board meeting to get, not wait for June, so that we don't have a lapse in our insurance. So there may be a resolution if we can get the proper people lined up by the.
And I assume this fits in with the procurement policy.
Oh, yeah.
Bids, et cetera, how
Well,
much
it's
it is.
a specialized service,
Special service
so
contract.
we probably would not have to do too much of a
Okay.
RFP process or bid process, definitely not bid process.
And
We request a
Or
proposal,
get three
but,
prices or.
we may find that there's not many, options that we have anyway.
And a company or two has already reached out to us about this over the past couple of years, just trying to sell us this product.
Okay.
But we were not interested at the time. So I'm sure I still have emails from these people. I can just reach back out and they'd be happy to give us a quote. I'm sure I can get that by the 16th.
Definitely.
So
Thank you. Number 11.
Resolution renewing the special use permit for the American Legion to continue to park 3 commercial vehicles on the property.
Questions? Yeah, put it on. 12.
I'll just say this.
It's in the code.
Actually, every 6 months.
You have to do it because of the code. When the code is, you have to get special permit.
You know what it is? If you had, if you had a group you gave a special permit to review, then when the renewal came up, it's easy to, they say, oh, you gave a lifetime to the American Legion, why are you giving a lifetime to XYZ Corporation, and they refuse? I think that's it. Some attorney probably, yeah.
A good one. Very good.
Okay, moving along, number 12.
Resolution to approve Department of Recreation programs. First, we have A, registered nurse on duty for Barrett Park Recreation. Any questions? Dance bands for the scheduled adult dances to be held at the Village Valley Stream Pool. C is entertainment for the scheduled summer concerts. D is software for Barrett Park Camp. This is a 2-year agreement.
This was a late addition. Jimmy Costanzo and Nicole Winter had a presentation middle of last week while Nicole was off from school for the break. The program is called Camp Minder, and the effort here is to streamline and expedite the registration process This year, we were back open to our post-COVID numbers. The lines on the first day of registration were rather long, and when you have families signing up for camps for 3 or 4 kids, the line just doesn't go very quickly. So this Retro, we looked into Retro and its ability to do this, and it really was not capable of handling it. So that's why they got this presentation, and this will basically allow them to do all of the registrations. Somebody could register from home, make payment from home, you don't have to wait online at our camp. It's gonna make sure that we have our limits and it's gonna set up our groups. The folks will use it to set the counselors for each group, schedules and everything. So, it's a very intricate thing, and we are getting a 50% discount to sign up for 2 years, so the first year cost is only $25. Just as on 1 day of Barrett Park registration, we got over $132,000 revenue from people signing up for the trips. And I mean, obviously, it's not straight profit, but we got $132,000 revenue in 1 day from this camp. So we can use that to do software as well.
Can we call it the Sabatino clause?
Sure. Sabatino can't mind it.
The Sabatino camp one. That was the first irate call I got on registration. And there was a few more that followed after that. Okay, thank you. Next.
13, okay, in your package, you'll see a letter, it's a request to use Henderson Park for a 5K run on Father's Day. It's actually going to start in the state park, and they're going to run through Henderson backwards and finish in the state park.
Yeah, they've done that before, pre-COVID we used to have those. Any other questions on that, comments? Number 14.
Resolution for the use of village facilities, and this is for, over at Henderson Park for the Valley Stream Christian Academy School Day. June 17th.
Good. 15.
Resolution authorizing new parking meter attendant to issue, sharing signs.
Nick, any questions on that? Okay, 16.
Proposed code change from building department to streamline issuance of permits. The email and changes also attached to the Rockwell Census Code. What we kind of piggyback on.
So if I'm correct, we're looking at 16, 17, 18, 19, right? Building department, 16, 17 code, tree preservation, 18 sign and facade program, 19. Is that a code change, 18?
There will be a few code changes, minor, but more for your
And
information.
19 is the smoking, vaping, cannabis, and self-storage. Did I hit them all?
Yes.
All right, now, Mrs. Minori, in your memo, are there recommendations or what are we looking at here, Jen?
We're just looking to increase the lot coverage in the rear yard by 10% to allow people to have a little more patio space, for the table and chair. Instead of going to, every time they would have to go in front of the Board of Zoning appeals to be able to do something like that. Also, we would be adding some definitions to driveways and walkways. We don't currently define them. People do come in, they cement their whole property, they park all over. So in a nutshell, if we give them a little more patio space in their rear yard, tell them, okay, you can't park in front of your actual dwelling, keep it on the driveway, you can't park in the rear yard as well. Maybe, would streamline the permit issuance of permits.
And that is 16, right?
Yeah, 16.
17 is tree, so that's like Barbara, if you speak on that.
So we're just tightening up and, the tree law has now been in effect long enough. We're seeing, where maybe some of the time frame where the planting of trees might be adjusted somewhat, even allowing 6 months to a year before replanting the trees. We're looking at those changes that fall in there. Some of the trees are going to be adjusted if the board would approve that. But this is just a response to seeing the tree law and how it's been playing out now for this year.
So included in the packets are choices or just one
No,
recommendation?
I recommend it.
Recommendation, okay, that's what I want to know. So that was recommendations on the tree law. 18 is the sign and facade, who's that, Tommy?
But this is a program also going through community block grant monies. We received $250,000. We hired Vision Long Island to be the consult on this. It's a relationship between the village and the store owners on Rockaway. The village will participate 80% of the fee, and the store owner will participate 20%. Our 80% is coming from community block grant monies. And then you'll see what the options are and what we're looking to do, in the presentation there. It's limited to 3 choices, so we keep it, informed. We really want uniformity throughout Rockaway from Sunrise to Merrick Road. There is room for individuality with the color scheme, but for the most part, everything should kind of run on the same, going up and down both sides. If it's successful, we've asked for more money from the county, and hopefully do more. Anybody can participate. There's no.
So we're going to beautify and improve the downtown and give the business owners some of the breaks.
But with current budget, how many businesses could take advantage of this?
Depends on the amount of work.
Depends on the sign that they pick, but roughly each sign should cost about $10,000. So if we participate, we got 250. Vision cost, I think, 25, and then we'll go out to bid. So that will cost a little bit more money, the bid process. So maybe another 10. So we'll probably have just under 200. So we should get 10 the first year, the first go around. Hopefully, we're hoping, they get 10. You get a lot.
I'm just sort of thinking you might get a lot more than that.
Yeah, what if we have a lottery system?
We'll have a little, we'll have to.
We should,
that'll be
worst first, the ugliest or the worst
Yeah.
ones first.
Yeah.
Probably should pick the ugliest ones first.
They'll probably try to get rid of the boxes.
Yeah.
The boxes first, because they're out of our code. We'll try to,
Oh, that's a good point too.
Probably go that route.
And then 19 is the smoking, vaping, cannabis, and self-storage, I think, for the David.
Yes,
Is that one?
right.
From Barbara to Tom to David.
So 19A, the Community Economic Development Team put these versions together. We wanted to go to you because we wanted to really feel how far you wanted to take these smoking and vaping laws. The most upfront and simple is version 1, which focuses on public property and public buildings only, which prohibits smoking of cannabis and other tobacco products on public property. Version 2 extends beyond the public realm and actually puts in a section on multi-unit dwellings. The Village of Island Park has this in their code, and I reached out to their village clerk to ask, what was the impetus for putting this in and how has it been going? I haven't gotten any correspondence back, but my guess is that they were finding that people were complaining in multiple unit buildings, in public places in those buildings, people were smoking, and it was, incurring on their use of those public spaces. And then the third version here builds upon the first and the second, and takes code from the town of Hempstead, which went even further to prohibit vaping, e-cigarette, tobacco products from being sold anywhere within 1,000 linear feet of a school, park, or playground. My personal recommendation would be to start small and then, speak to the public, get more information. And if we want to extend that law, go further. Lynbrook, the Village of Lynbrook just went even further than all of these. In February, I believe they passed a local law. They're limiting the sale of tobacco products in their commercial district to 5 square feet or less. Anyone selling above 5 square feet of tobacco products are no longer going to be able to be located in their commercial district. They have to locate in their industrial district. So the spectrum of restrictions is quite wide, and we didn't just want to put something in front of you without having you think about how far you felt the constituents wanted us to go and how far you feel comfortable approving. So my personal recommendation, we could start with public property and buildings. maybe go out and get more information from the town, Village of Lynbrook, Village of Island Park, and see how these codes are going further.
Michael, are all these 16, 17, 18, 19, are they all local laws? No, I think the sign one. Sign's
The
local law.
sign would not be a local law.
Sign has a resolution to, it's just.
It's not a local law,
The
right?
sign
Yeah,
would just be a resolution, I just wanna get
the
that
sign
straight.
facade program.
Here, but, the code changes 16, 17, 19 are all local laws, public hearings.
Any proposed code change that would be on 16, 17, 18 not included, 19, A, B, and C included, would all be local rules hearings and all that stuff.
Public hearing. So, in order to maintain any type of, calendar, Jay, the board would have to get their comments back to the economic development team by. We are in the 16th May 2nd. So I would need all the board members, the 5 of us, to get, yes, no, and their recommendations to economic development before. Well, at the May board meeting, Michael, give my point. We would, at the May board meeting, we would announce that there would be a public hearing in June. Do I have that time frame
Yeah,
correct?
but I need all the paperwork to have it in front of you as a practical proposition ASAP. I mean, ASAP. And then which way do you want to go, Mayor?
Well, that's why I said trustee Grasso's not here. And I wanted the board, that's why I asked that, we're gonna need, a yay or a nay from the 5 of us in order to go forward.
I was just wondering if it wouldn't be smart to have the presentation just as we have it now at a regular meeting and just say, look, this is the discussion. We're looking at various ways of proceeding with this sort of thing. And perhaps ask the public to get comments to us within a 30-day time frame. And then at that point, it would actually be June probably, rather than everything moving in May for a hearing in June. It might be June for a hearing in July. But I mean, what do people want? What do you want?
I mean, I've heard from residents varying on the spectrum. Sure, don't infringe upon my right to smoke, in a public place. I'm already under the control of, the Clean Indoor Air Act and other things. And I've heard people who are like, why do we have smoke and vape shops in the corner of our downtown, at a critical intersection? So
I hear you.
I think we'll get that varied response if we went out to the public. Most of it is.
I think the public comment should be at the public hearing when it's on the record. What I would like to do is what I just said, I'm gonna reiterate it one more time, and the board can obviously jump in, is if Vincent, Dermond, myself, John, and Sean get our comments to the economic development team by, that's what I'm looking for, reasonable, and then we can schedule a public hearing, and at the public hearing, the public can have at it. I mean, that's the point of the public hearing, right? I mean, it's a court stenographer, and
Just get the info to me so I can pull it together and give you a package.
so economic development, then looking at, I'm also looking at the clerk, the calendar, what's a reasonable time frame? Because you can't just say, have it done by the third. Right, I vote by the minority, the majority, because there's choices.
What about after Memorial Day break, when we have a meeting that?
You could always call for the public hearing and then.
Yeah.
Well, Michael said we can't.
What was the observation?
What I said originally was, why don't we at the May meeting say that we're gonna have a public hearing in June on this
Yes.
stuff?
And if we're not ready, you know, it's public.
No, well, we have to publish. a
It's
public
not the
hearing.
efficient way to do it. You should have everything in place as a practical proposition to be ready to roll, because you don't want to schedule a hearing and then adjourn it. You can do it, you're permitted to do it. You can have it, and the people will have had the appropriate notice. You don't have to renotice it again or anything of that nature. It just, I think it would be better.
Well, I suppose, don't you feel that we can get it, we can say at the May meeting that we're gonna have a public hearing on this in June?
We don't have to say, no, I think what I'm saying, you don't don't wanna do it, or you wanna give yourself more time, we don't have to do anything for the following month. And then say we have a public hearing, whatever the date.
May, you can make that statement at the May meeting. I'm just simply asking if it would be okay to make that statement in the June meeting for a July hearing. That's all. And the practical possibility.
Right, so
Just the way if I
you
mind.
guys, again, Vincent's not here, so everybody's gonna want a little time to go ahead to review it. So you're saying that, I guess the easiest thing is to ask the board to get their responses to the economic development team before the May meeting. This way in June, we can schedule a public hearing for July. You got that, Jay, Barbara, Tommy, who did I leave out, David? Right, so the board has to get their comments on these, resolutions, 16, 17, 18, 19, A, B, and C. Say again? Yes, of course. Before the next board meeting, which is May 16th. And then in May, and this gives the economic development team time to interface with the attorney so that in June, they can schedule a public hearing correctly and have the public hearing in July. Work that? Did anybody write that down?
Understood.
It's here. It's in print.
Oh, yeah.
July of
You guys
2025, we're
okay
having
with that,
this.
Sean, Don, come on? Now, Mr. Clerk, I have to ask you, please email trustee Grasso that time frame that you said. Sean knows, John knows, Damon knows, and I know, but I want to make sure trustee Grasso knows.
19B focuses on defining cannabis establishments within our code. And essentially, there's different components as we reviewed this when we talked about whether or not the village is going to be selling or permitting the sale of marijuana. There are different licenses within the MRTA. Those other licenses are now starting to be distributed. We want to be prepared to have this in our zoning code. So this defines those establishments in under one title, cannabis establishment, and directs them to the C3 zone with restrictions for special permit review and distance requirements and things like that. We can't be overly prohibitive.
This is in addition to what we passed the last time.
Right.
Okay, so it's not going to be sale.
No, this is for distribution, cultivation, processing, transporting. The other licenses,
That's what they don't need a permit for right
right?
now. They can do this at this time anymore.
Realistically.
So,
They don't have a warehouse right on Merrick Road. But, residential.
in 19B, it's also economic and community development team.
Correct.
Do we have the recommendations in our packet?
Yes,
That's what I wanted to know.
yes.
And if they're agreed upon as not second choices,
No, one,
that's what I want.
Yep.
Okay, excellent.
and the same goes for 19C, self-storage facilities. We're defining it in our code and we're putting it into the prohibited uses column under our code.
All right, everybody got that?
Yep.
So those are the, we're basically, it's yes or no on 16 through 19, A, B, C, D, with the exception of 19A, where we have to get our preference, 1, 2, or 3. And there's 5 of us, so we just have to see which way it goes.
This is code changes. These are brand new sections, right?
Which one are you looking at?
Oh, I'm sorry.
B and C.
Yes.
Yes.
No, A, B.
A, B, and C, you're right.
Yes,
Oh, brand new.
yeah, it should be proposed code additions.
Everybody got that? So, yeah, we're really just for 19A. B, unless we see something glaring, we don't like
Yeah.
what economic development did. C, unless we see something glaring, same thing with 16, 17, 18. They've all been vetted, by our teams. The real one they're looking for input on is 19A. And so we pass along what we feel. And they've been doing the research again with Island Park, Lindbrook, Town of Hempstead. We move from there. And Michael, another question goes back to you, which David suggested. We could always modify the code again
Absolutely. No,
So I want the board to be aware that if we feel we went too strict, we could lighten it up. If we feel we went too easy, we could straighten it up.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen? Okay. Any other questions on it? That's excellent. I want to thank everybody. Thank the building department supervisor Jennifer and the economic development team. Excellent, excellent work. What we've been asking for as a board, to have the team together and come to us with the recommendations. Well, any questions for the team? Very happy. Thank you. Number 20.
There will be a public hearing, 7 p.m. on May 16th, and renewal of the fire department contract.
Vote it down.
Any questions on that? All right, need a motion to close and go into executive session for personnel litigation. Motion to close. Second. Roll call.
Trustee Buckarelli. Yes. Trustee Thomas. Yes. Trustee Wright. Mayor Barry.
Yes. I mean it.